Hello, everybody. My name is Marta, and this is the Reinvention Game podcast. And today I have Sandra Zumstein with me. She is an awesome freediver, and for our listeners, we met literally just once. I think it was around 2 years ago in French Polynesia. And since then, I've been following Sandra on Instagram. I was absolutely captivated by her journey. And now she is in South Korea and she's traveling around the world. So I'm so excited to learn more about Sandra's journey, and so our listeners can hear your story. So hello.
Thank you so much. Hello. Thank you for having me.
So Sandra, please, maybe let's start very simple. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah. Okay, so I am Swiss. I was born in Switzerland. My mom is Bolivian. So I'm half Swiss, half Bolivian. I grew up talking Swiss German and Spanish at home, mostly Spanish though. And yeah, I think it was 2021 when I decided to travel the world.
And how old were you? And how old are you now?
So I just turned 31.
So how was growing up in Switzerland being, half Swiss, half Bolivian?
Yeah. So that's actually a really big topic for me because it was, I would say, maybe confusing at the years, when you're a teenager, because at home, my mom would fully live like the Bolivian culture. We had Bolivian food, the language was Spanish, and my dad loved it. He speaks Spanish as well. So he just gave the stage to my mom to let us grow up, in a like in the Bolivian culture. So whenever I would leave the house, it was Switzerland, of course. And I think when I was younger, I didn't really get it because there are many things in Switzerland that for the Bolivian culture is rude and the opposite as well. So yeah, I grew up very differently at home. Um, so I think I got to see that when I moved out of home and I moved into my own apartment, where I was like, oh, okay, I just grew up with a different culture. Like, there's so many things I think of totally different than Swiss people or like the Swiss culture. So that was a bit confusing, but now I get it. I know that, I have a Bolivian side, I have the Swiss side, and I can adapt to both sides as well.
So would you say it was hard to have those two identities?
Yeah, it's hard. Because you have to, I mean, it's something very valuable for sure because you can understand both cultures. Like when my mom and my dad would have an argue or just talk about something, you could just understand both sides. But it was very conflicting where sometimes you don't even know which culture or which way to react because even like Swiss and Bolivian culture, I mean, that's Switzerland in Europe, Bolivia, down there in South America, it's so different. It's like the opposite side. So Swiss culture is very like strict and reserved, maybe a bit cold, like emotionally, and there are many hidden rules and there is none of that in Bolivia. It's like all open and honest, and mi casa es tu casa, and come join and come to my home. You don't even have to ring the bell, just step into the door. So it's very different. So I think as a little girl, I never understood that there is like a foreigner in me growing up in Switzerland. But yeah, with the time, I just understood that there are two sides in me, and I see it as a value now.
That's awesome. Well, so now that you've been or when you were little, you're growing up with two different cultures, and you had all that mix. What were your aspirations? Like, what did you want to do in life?
Oh, I think I always watched YouTube videos or some videos like from people that live close to the ocean. I've never been to Hawaii, but it really inspired me to be in a place like Hawaii, surrounded by nature. Switzerland has a lot of nature to offer. It really has, but the ocean is just missing, especially for me now that I'm a freediver. Um, of course, back then I didn't know I would take this path to be a freediver and be so close to the ocean. But whenever we would have vacation, with the family, we would go abroad and like either we would travel to Spain or to America, like just somewhere close to the ocean. And my parents were travelers. They used to be travelers as well. So this is where I have it from.
That's awesome. It's great to have that example in house, at home. So how was your journey in terms of, okay, you went to college. You told me first you worked in sales. So was being a free diving instructor your dream since you were very little, or was it like, oh, I went to French Polynesia and I was diving with whales and this is what sparked my interest? Where did that come from? And yeah, that your adult life, it's you're 31, you had quite a chunk of like your adult life already. So how is that for you?
I didn't even know what freediving was, to be honest. I decided to do a big world travel that was 2021. And I thought it's going to be full on surf travel because I was watching all these surfers and I was like, that's cool. I want to be surfer. I want to become a surfer. I'm just going to make it a surf travel around the world. And of course, I was not very good in surfing. I did it a few times only. And then at my very first stop, it was Bali. I met my friend, which is like the friend I'm visiting right now in South Korea. She was talking to a guy, and they were watching like a tennis play game. And he just turned over to me and he was like, "Do you dive?" And I'm like, "No, why are you asking?" He's like, "Oh, go to this event in the north of Bali, will change your life." And at that time, I was all about changing my life. I was like, "Yeah, taking that, I'm going up." So I left her actually. She agreed on it. She flew home a few days later, and I visited Ahmed, Bali, this freediving spot, and I learned freediving. And I think it was level 2 where I was like, I want to be an instructor. This is awesome. This is great. This is amazing. I want to do that. So I did all my levels in Bali. And then my travel was all about freediving. So after that, I had the French Polynesia booked, like this expedition. So I went diving with humpback whales and everything. We met there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's such a rich um such a rich culture and the nature, and it's just awesome. And then I flew to Mexico and did my freediving instructor, and ever since then I feel like I found my purpose in life to, yeah, to be in the water and to help other people, find this passion maybe as well.
So that was your first time when you actually experienced freediving. It was when you were 26 years old. And from then you're like, okay, I'm full on and I'm going to become a freediver.
Yeah, I fell in love with it, like with the sport, with the calmness, um with the meditation you have to do, with the awareness, body awareness, mental awareness, with the ocean, with the water, with the underwater creatures, with the way how you grow, like within yourself, with the help of water. And yeah, I just knew this is what I want to do. And I never I never tried a sport like that where I was just like, okay, all in, I go for this now. I was always I did a lot of sports, different sports, even when I was younger. Um, and I just always tried different things and adventures and experiences, but I never had one where I was like, this is it. I'm just gonna do that now, and yeah, and be consistent with it.
Okay. So you were 26 and you said that you were in Bali, and at that point you were all about changing your life. What led you to that?
Um, I just had a lifestyle that I didn't really. I think I didn't agreed on it. So it felt like I was acting or in a role in Switzerland that I didn't want it to be, that society brought me to. And I was always admiring the backpacker girls, like traveling solo, and all the all the girls like living next to the ocean, being in the water. At that time it was the surfing, vlogging. I was always admiring that, but I never really saw myself that I could do it. So it was kind of, I was in a role that I didn't really feel comfortable. So this is why I just started to do this travel. I quit my job, I sold my car, I sold so many clothes and so many belongings I had. And yeah, my mom was even like, if not now, when then, Now or never, go, like fly out. So this is what I did. I quit my apartment as well, and I left.
So your parents were all on board with your dreams?
Yeah, fully on.
Oh, that's awesome to have such support.
They were travelers as well. My dad was like, thanks God, I thought you're never leaving. He said it at one point. And I was like, wait, I thought you wanted me to do the career and the whole thing. I thought that's the opposite of what you want. And of course, after that, he was like, as a Swiss man, like the safety, don't you want to work a little bit more, save a little bit more money? But they were so happy. And they even came visit me in Mexico, the whole fam.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting what you're saying, that you thought that your dad had completely different expectations of you. And I think it's so important to, one, live the way you want to live rather than, adapting to expectations of others. But two, actually like communicate with others, see what they're thinking, because you thought that your dad wanted one thing, but then it turns out it's like, oh no, like I wanted you to live and be happy.
And see the world. Yeah. This is what, you grew up, society and everything. I had a really good job when I was very young, and I had my own Mercedes already, and I kind of was proud of it. And, you always look for the, acknowledge, if that's the right word, from your surroundings. And I thought this is what I had to do, kind of. Um, and then when I started to really do what I want, suddenly people are like, "Oh, it's great what you do," and they're like, you have such a big fan community of just how you live your life, and you're like, "Wait, I didn't expect it to have this. I thought I'm going to be, it's going to be the opposite." But actually, everyone is really like celebrating me for doing that, and even my parents, and that feels like healing and really nice.
So when you were in high school, or after high school, what did you study?
So we have a different system in Switzerland. So there is like, you can do an apprenticeship. So I did an apprenticeship for 3 years in sales, where you work part time and you go to the school the other days. Um, After that, I went to, so this is where you earn money already. So then I went to London for a language, like to do language school. And then I went to Chile because my mom was actually born in Chile, but she grew up in Bolivia. That's why I wanted to see Chile. So I was in Chile for like 2 months or 3 months, I think. And this is where I learned like the grammar of Spanish, because I always only talked Spanish with my mom, but I didn't know any grammar. So this is where I started tiny travel, and the money was gone, so I had to come home and earn some more money. So I just worked in sales, and then I did further education of merchandising, and I went into decoration, into visual merchandising, and worked for Swatch, the watch brand, and did that for 6 years.
Wow. It does sound like it was a good career, and you had like big future in it.
It was a really good career, and uh, the job I had, I loved it because it had to do with a lot of creativity. You know, I was the one like hanging in the window, like creating the whole interior design for the watch brand, and also working on events, building the whole structure, just what they wanted to have. And I was very free. I visited just different stores. I had 52 stores that I had to do the merchandising all over Switzerland, and I just drove there with my own car. And it was very, very nice. But at that point, I did it 6 years already. So I was like, okay, you know, what's next? And this is where I quit and started to travel.
Where did you have any doubts about quitting your job, or you just knew that it's the right
None.
decision?
None, none, none. I think everything comes at the right time, but I could have done it even earlier.
Okay, so there do you have the regret of not quitting earlier?
No, I don't regret it. Because maybe I had some more learnings to do, or maybe I just had to um be s- it's a negative word, but be stuck in there in a good way, kind of to learn and not wanting to go back. um 6 years is a lot of time to be in one job at such a young age, but I loved the brand and I loved the job, and I was within my job, I was very free. And yeah, when I quit and I just went out to explore the world, I was one of these solo travelers that I always admired when I was younger.
That's awesome. So do you think the job that you had and all the studies are actually helpful to you right now?
Oh yeah. So right now, I give freediving in. I'm a freedive instructor. I give freediving coachings and the whole courses. But I also do personal training online at the moment. So this is a study I did in between all these jobs I told you, or educations I told you. Um, and also, the job I had allowed me to structure everything, structure my life. And I had to come out of my comfort zone for that job. When I started to work for Swatch, I think I was around 20s. So, you know, I had to step into these shops, talk to the shop owner as a 20, 21-year-old girl, and tell them how the watches should look and how the whole store should look. And that was my job. Like, that was a service that we had to give them a whole new decoration. Just because the corporate identity as well. But I had to really step up, and I was traveling by myself, doing this job by myself. So you don't really have a whole team behind you that, you know, is physically there. So this allowed me to step up, I think, at such a young age, and, you know, like, also get to know different type of characters and how to deal with it. And when there were, you know, elder people being very mean, like, what do you do? Okay, next time I just come with some croissants and, you know, play it nice. And then they would switch and change. And I was like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay. So I did, it was a big learning these 6 years.
I'm really, really impressed. Actually, when I was talking to you, I thought you're way younger. I didn't know you're 31.
I know, that's a Bolivian genes.
That's amazing. No,
It's
but
funny,
so
wherever I am, people tend to ask me, how did you just came out of high school? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Even when I had this car, it was like an SUV Mercedes, and I was 20. I think when I got it, I was 23 years old, and the Mercedes, like the garage, they would be so rude, thinking it was like the car of my dad or anything, and I was just a spoiled little girl having this big car. And sometimes I would be like, yeah, that's my earning, like I did that. But they would see just this little girl behind the, driving this huge car. Yeah.
so would you say you were struggling as a female in your profession and then later in freediving, or would you say it didn't really matter?
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's still a big topic wherever you go, especially when you look young. And um, it's just the society is still, I would say, maybe 60% led by men. I can sense that everywhere, especially in the business world, where if you have to, step up, you have to step into your masculine energy, and you kind of lose or forget about your female energy, because female energy is just, they see it as weak, especially in the business world. So I definitely had to step into my masculine energy and gain the female energy back in freediving. That's all good.
Oh, so in freediving you actually got your female energy back?
Yeah, because you can move. It's like moving around in the water is like dancing around, with the mermaiding, doing the mermaiding as well. Very feminine. So I think it was a good, the business side, like my years of business was more like masculine led, I think, where you have to step up, whatever it is for meetings and going to clients, tell them what you have to, how it has to look, and all the rules. And then the freediving and the traveling the world was more like, all feminine.
So what advice would you have to young females?
Oh, um, I would say that when you are a little girl and you're experiencing this whole shift of your hormones shifting, you're becoming a woman, there are gonna be times where they're very dark. But I think that's very normal. That's just like the body's shifting and your hormones are shifting. And yeah, never lose this feminine energy and don't see it as something negative, I think. And don't let yourself be talked down.
What do you think made you successful in freediving?
Mm, I think the passion for it. I think whenever you have passion for something, you attract people that wanted to do it as well. And they see that I'm not acting this role, I am in this role, like I'm fully living it, and they just want to learn from it. And I have so much joy showing someone the power of water. And I feel so powerful in the water, and seeing people that have never been in the water, maybe never worn a snorkel, never wore fins, stuff like that. I really like to provide them this safe space and teach them how to, become quite more calm.
So what dreams do you have now that you already achieved that you're an instructor, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So what's next for you?
So I want to achieve big things. I have some projects right now. Um, and I'm also, I want to grow within, like, in social media and my content creation. I want to grow my YouTube channel, still growing my Instagram, creating a community and creating like a safe space for people to learn about travel and freediving, because I get a lot of questions about the traveling, and I do have a lot of experience with solo traveling, lights traveling, going to different places, adapting to culture. And yeah, I think my dreams, I have so many dreams. I have a whole bucket list of what I want to do in terms of like adventures or sports I want to learn or do it once. But what is a dream for me is really create something big that goes towards freediving, travels. I just released my newsletter. I'm doing weekly newsletters. I'm creating this community. I am hosting my first ever retreat in Bali in 2025, October 2025. So, taking people with me to travel. One of my goals as well is how like learn to interact with sharks. I really want to do that. So, I think either, free diving, just fun diving, like Ocean Ramsey style, or going deeper, being down there and yeah, just seeing them passing by and interacting with them.
That's awesome. That's a really really nice dream. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. So what are the different disciplines? Like I that's
So it's pulling the rope, free immersion. It's no fins, where you go down with arm pulls and leg kicks, and then you go bifinning with the two fins, or the monofin, where you don't touch the rope with the if you're finning down. Yeah.
I didn't know that there were like so many different disciplines.
Yeah, and then you also have dynamics in the pool. So it's the same thing, only no rope, so you're not pulling rope, but um it's monofin, bifins, no fins, and then statics, where you just float in the water and hold your breath. There's so many. Yeah, you can compete in all of them.
So what's your breath hold?
I actually never. Oh, I did the static when I did my crossover for the Molchanovs. So it was 4 minutes, 10 seconds. That's just what I had to do. So I was like, okay, let's, stay safe. And because I had to record it to send it so I can cross over. But I never practice. It's another discipline that you practice, and I never really practice it. Um, because I just like to go deep and not just float in the water and hold my breath. Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more fun to go down.
Yeah, you just have the pressure of water and the free fall, where after 20 meters you start to free fall. So you sink down, and this is a very relaxing and nice feeling if you're in a good state.
It does sound scary.
It's not. It's like a current in a river or current in the water in general. This is how it feels. You can just go down, you can relax fully. It's really nice.
Have you ever felt like you're not gonna make it up to the top?
Uh, no, I mean, no, there were scary moments for sure, like doing the instructor requirements or like the crossover requirements, because you are nervous and um, the instructor trainer is watching you, and you have to do all these requirements after each other. So you get more nervous, and of course, heart rate is high. That means less oxygen for your body. Um, so I think I had some moments where I was like, okay, I think I'm done, but you have to make it up. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a feeling of, okay, patient, Sandra, just, go up. And it's really nice because you actually hear your thoughts. You learn how you talk to yourself on the water. Like, what are your thoughts to yourself?
So do you have any like affirmations for yourself when you're in the water, outside the water?
Yeah, so I do a lot of practice, like breathwork practice or meditation practice, or like the body scan, relaxing your body. Um, Underwater is more like I need a rhythm. So either when I first started, I had like a song or a melody in my head, which I just, replayed over and over again in my thoughts. Um, but now it's more like the equalization that it has like a rhythm. So, I'm equalizing. So it's like just this rhythm that I go and trying to relax.
So, I wanted to ask you for an advice for
Yeah.
someone who wants to change their life, like you did, that they are in a very good, comfortable job, but they simply don't feel it. They don't feel like it's for them, and they don't know where else they should go, where what they should try. They don't have a clear vision for themselves, but they just feel where they are right now, that's not it. What advice would you have?
So this is really where I was at. I was like, it doesn't feel right. So I have to do something. So I think whatever makes you nervous, that's a sign already. You should go for it. Um, don't overthink. You will not know your plan. You will not know where you go. Um, just do one step at a time. Um, and just go for it. Just take the first step, and life will lead you wherever you have to go. And keep your eyes open because there are many, many signs coming from the universe that will help you.
But did you feel any fear when you were at that time?
I think it was the fear of not being fully prepared. So I was saving money and I was like wanting to be fully prepared, still having that comfortable, safe space. And, but when is the ending of like, of saving money? There is, you can save money, I don't know, like there is no end. So I thought I would feel prepared, but at once I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. And my mom was like, yeah, just do it. I'm like, okay. So I quit and it was like, oh, I thought this whole emotions would come and it would feel like a big step. But I was like, that's it. I just gave the paper. That's it. I just quit. I don't feel any different. It was like, wait, what? And then even before the world travel, I wanted to plan the whole thing. I was like, okay, where do I go first? Like, which country? What's the weather there? What's the prices, the flight prices? And then I just knew, or I saw that it's impossible. So I just, took one step at a time. And now I'm really like, I'm organizing my future. I have plans. I do want to be consistent in my plans, but I also just go with the flow. You cannot plan everything. You can't really plan your life because life is like a game. You just have to, play and go with it. And sometimes it will turn and you didn't even know that this path existed or you wanted to go there. Yeah.
And so how would you recommend someone, um or what would you tell someone to have that confidence in themselves?
Just trust my words. um, you will not have the confidence. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You will like grow with it. I think the confidence grows whenever you trust yourself. And yeah, maybe listen to your role model or listen to the words or just trust it, even though you think, oh, that's not going to happen. You never know. Maybe it's going to happen.
Yeah. You grow through action, I think.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
oh, that's awesome. Well, I it's so interesting to like hear your story and
Oh,
learning all
thank
about
you.
your journey. Yeah, I've been following you, but
Yeah.
we never had a chance to talk about it. So it's really awesome. So after South Korea, where are you going?
So I'm traveling with my friend to Shanghai just for a few days. And after that, I'm going to Japan to do some snowboarding because I haven't done it in quite a while. I grew up in Switzerland doing snowboarding. Um, and yeah, I thought I would never ever be in winter again. But I knew I have to come to South Korea at least once because my friend came visit me already twice. We saw each other in Portugal, we saw each other in Bali. And now I told her, you know what? I just booked the flights. I'm coming. And it's winter here. I literally had to buy winter clothes. So I'm going to take advantage, having these winter clothes, flying to Japan, and then I think visiting Australia and back to Bali for some training and hopefully some teaching and coaching. Yeah.
For someone who would like to start their journey with freediving, how do they start? What do they do?
Um Depends on which level you are. If you don't know anything about freediving, maybe go with a person or an instructor that you would trust as a person. And then you can do either your trial freediving course, or you can already go to your level 1 course to do this. Also depends on where you freedive. It's very different. So in Switzerland, obviously you can freedive, but it's in the lake. It's a very different experience than being in the ocean, somewhere where it's warm, for example, Bali, or being in cenotes, like Mexico. That's very different as well. So maybe choose the location and the person you want to go with, and then just try it out.
Well, thank you so much. It was so nice learning about you, learning your story, and hearing about someone who had really good career, and then you just left it because you didn't feel it was for you, and you just went head on into something else that now became your whole life and your passion out of nowhere. You had no idea that free diving is for you. It's absolutely amazing, incredible, and I love hearing stories like that, especially that, like, I'm in a moment where I am not sure where I'm going. So it's really nice to learn from others. So thank you so much, and I thank you.
Thank you for having me. It was a joy talking about it and also hearing you um, telling me all these things makes me realize where I am because sometimes you get lost where you are or what you have achieved. So talking about the whole story, so like officially on the podcast made me, feel proud. I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm in South Korea, like living the life and going wherever I want, working online and traveling and, giving courses whenever I'm close to the ocean. So it's very nice.
I mean, you should definitely be proud of yourself. I mean, you left your country without knowing what's next. It's a huge leap of faith in yourself and the universe. So it's awesome that you did that.
Yeah, a big thank you to my mom as well because she left Bolivia when she was in her 20s, very young, 21, 22, and she knew like wherever I would go it would be better. Something is awaiting me, so she always had this mindset of like, it will not kill you, just try it, and when you don't like it, come home, like just do it. So this is how she would how we would grow up with her. She would be like, give you this little extra push, even when it's hard as a mom to let go of your daughter and just seeing her traveling around the world. But yeah.
It's amazing to have such an example at home, and hearing the stories from your mom like firsthand, it must have been also very, very inspiring.
It is, yeah.
Well, so thank you so much.